What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Iron Obsession podcast. I'm your host, Anson, and I guess I'm just going to kind of go down on a line on who I got here. We got a big lineup today. So I got Brad Ferrugia in the middle, Madisyn Vieira in the top right, and then I got Max Hughes in the bottom left and Bobby Silverback in the bottom right. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Man.
Good, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna have to coordinate some things here because this is huge as I'm seeing it now. I feel like I'm on a game show. You know what I'm saying?
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Raise your hand.
Yeah. But so we got some questions, a lot of good questions from people on Instagram and Discord that we're going to go through. The first question / topic that we have for today is tips for a first-time natty prep. We could definitely, argue there's not going to be a ton different, like all the X's and O's are going to be the same, but what are some things that you guys would use to go about doing that? Like, how would you treat it differently, if at all?
So start.
Oh, there we go. Madisyn.
Let's see. So I really wouldn't do too much different. The one thing that I would say is I would definitely be more cautious and more mindful of like having pretty scheduled refeeds like we were talking about before the pod, just so that thyroid's not down regulating too much where we're just totally stalling out fat loss completely and we're having to, cardio our way for every gram of fat that we lose. So we do have some metabolic, help and assistance through that process. But other than that, man, it's, hammer away, get as lean as you possibly can and, try to show up as shredded and as filled out as possible,
What do you guys think like a really big natural bodybuilder would be? Like, you got a genetically elite guy, like what was the best case scenario you think? Like, let's say 5'9".
Ronnie Coleman.
Well, besides that, realistic.
185.
That's what I would
say.
think.
If you're like 5'9", like 180, 185, like peeled.
Yeah. Did you say genetically gifted, like super genetically gifted?
Like, something you would see at like a top level natty show.
She's
In the 180s.
Like
At
inside
5'8",
at 5'9".
5'8", 5'9".
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I think like 185.
Wait. They have the natural Olympia.
Well,
Some of those dudes are big.
I was going to say,
Some of those dudes are natural.
True natural.
plus Olympia.
Muscle mania.
Well, it's such a spectrum because it's like, how do we know? I mean, some people are just, if we're talking about the cream of the crop that are just genetically fucking blessed that just, can walk around and get shredded. Even natty, we have no idea. Could that have been Ronnie Coleman? Could it have also be like some 185-pound guy?
Yeah.
I think 185-pound is like the upper tier. Yeah. I don't think that's the super genetically gifted though. I think maybe 205.
Yeah.
I could see
if you're
like
a little
200.
taller. I was going to say you could be like 200, 210 somewhere in there if you're a little taller. I think that's definitely achievable.
Yeah.
Because stripped down, totally just, ringed out natty, I was like 197 pounds. I'm like 6'1", maybe 6'2" on a good day. So, I feel like, you could definitely, if you were working to bring that physique in natural and as much muscle as possible, you could probably be like 200, 220, somewhere in there if you really worked at it and really spent some years like refining. Yeah. If you were a little bit taller guy, of course.
Because Ronnie was what? Was Ronnie 6 foot, 5'11", 6'1"?
He's like 5'9".
Ronnie was?
I think he was 6 foot, man. He was a big dude.
People always talk about him being like
he's like
way
5'11".
I want to say
like 5'11".
Yeah, I want to say 5'11", but I could be wrong.
Let's look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Although then again,
I think he is 5'11", but I want to say he's 6 foot because he just looks freaking mad.
I think he's 5'2" right now. The best.
Yeah.
But to be honest, though,
anyways.
Yeah.
But
anyways,
to get back on the topic. Have you guys seen Alberto Nunez?
Though,
I think.
Continue, Brad. You're good.
Okay. Sorry, I was saying to get back on the topic of refeeding and making sure you stay healthy metabolically. I think another thing to consider is giving yourself a long enough timeline, and also making sure you start at a favorable body comp. Like, don't try to do a 16-week prep coming from like 25% body fat, because I just feel like there's not going to be any room for refeeding in that case, so even if that means you need to do like a pre-prep get yourself down to like 15% body fat, and then start from there. Try to have your food as high as possible at the start, and then and just to touch on what you said, Madisyn, so would refeeds be something that you would almost have like scheduled, or what kind of like feedback would you be looking for to on
I
when to
would
use
be
them?
I would be trying to dig to a new low until we basically plateaued at that new low and couldn't get like the scale to dig any further. Not like I would be beating a dead horse and like, hey, we got to get it to budge a half a pound here. But I'd be waiting to see that new plateau, that new low, and then I would try to refeed there. Obviously, like you said, if time's not on your side, you can't necessarily always refeed, and that's actually kind of the situation I'm finding myself with a guy I'm helping that's natural right now. He kind of jumped into something, got signed up for a show, not expecting, thinking basically you can do a 12-week prep as a natural, essentially. So we're trying to, hammer away and like super low carb, high cardio right now. So the refeeding, like you had said, sometimes you don't have the time to do that. And I feel like that's why it's very important, like you had said as well, to make sure that you have a allotted time to make it to the show in shape, because at the end of the day, it's not about just getting on stage. It's about presenting your best when you do get on stage.
Yeah.
So if it takes a little bit more time, take that time to, show up at your best.
One thing before we continue, I meant to mention this at the start of the show. All of us here do online coaching. So if you're interested in that, our social medias are all each on our faces. Reach out to us on Instagram. That'll be the best way to reach us. I've had a few people DM me, not sure where they can reach out to us. So just wanted to put that out there before we get further into the show.
Nice little plug from Anson there.
So,
Yeah, thank you.
so a tactic I would take, especially for a natural competitor, I want their fats higher, because hormonally they don't have the luxury to have them lower. Just like if you downregulate someone's hormones in a like prep phase, everything's just going to fall apart. Everything's going to go to shit. Another thing I want them to really be mindful of, and something I try to have everyone be mindful of, is the selenium and iodine intake. But this is going to be super important for an active person, because they can't rely on T3 and T4 supplementation.
Yeah. Also sodium.
Another thing I'm probably, sodium is going to be
yeah.
I think sodium is important regardless. I think that's a non-negotiable, no matter if you're enhanced or natural.
Absolutely.
I got a morality question for you guys real quick on the natural side of things. Is Yohimbine crossing that line in your opinion?
Yes.
I would say so.
Of unnatural?
So I just go by what is it, WADA? Whatever's on the WADA list, that's what I consider natural. I don't really have any like moral stance on any of it. It's just whatever those guidelines say, that's what I would go by. Because
I need to look at it, because I'm honestly not 100% up to speed on that.
Yeah, I'm not either. But
I've been like half tempted to be like, bro, throw that in, but at the same time, I know that we can't necessarily play, any fat burners or anything like that when you're doing natural stuff.
There's some like super benign shit on that list, but then there's something like caffeine, which is arguably one of the most performance enhancing things we have access to. It's not on that list, so it's like, I don't know. It's obviously there has to be some sort of guidelines, but that's what I would go off of.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I didn't mean to interrupt with that.
I think anything you could get from food is acceptable naturally. Caffeine is something that we can get from a plant, and I think that best practice is actually, as a fat burner, be like green tea extract.
I love green tea.
Put that a little bit higher. Well, that also does help with your A1C, lowering it.
Oh, okay.
So that also keeps someone in a very good insulin sensitive state. Which, I don't know, for natural, it's just you have to play that really, really like balancing game, very much so. I love the topic of, give yourself plenty of time. I would say 30 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minimum
And
The guys that
24.
are at the top of that sport,
that's
man, they take
that's
so
starting at
long to prep.
50%. That's starting at 50%, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, that doesn't mean you're dieting the whole time for 30 weeks, but
No.
that means you have to be locked in. Like this is everything for 30 weeks.
Yeah, I honestly, I'm curious what you guys think about this. I typically like kind of poo-poo on the idea of diet breaks, but I think for natural guys, they might conserve a purpose. Like for at least like three, not necessarily a whole week, but like a 3 or 4 day period of even just going back to maintenance calories. I think you almost, I don't want to say you have to do that on a natural prep, but maybe some guys would have to.
Is that not just a refeed?
A 4 day long?
I mean, I would approach it
Could
the
be.
same way as an enhanced athlete. At the end of the day, like, yeah, enhanced athletes use drugs to alter metabolism, but at the end of the day, it works the same regardless. So, in the body's going to respond to a refeed the same. So, I mean, maintenance is kind of using the word maintenance is kind of
Yeah, of
semantics, right?
course.
So it's like, I would approach the refeed the same. Okay, give them a little bit of food, see how their body responds, have them check in the next
Yeah.
day. Okay, see how the body responded. Maybe the day after that, you're going to give them even more, and then um, ideally, if their metabolism is in a decent place and it's really kicking,
Yeah.
you could do that for 3-4 days. Obviously,
Yeah, you
like we
remember
said before, like
I'm kind of new to the whole idea of a refeed, so
yeah, I mean, but that type of refeed, like that's like perfect circumstances. Like you're like
okay,
ahead of schedule.
okay, yeah,
Like if you're cutting it close, like you're probably not going to do a 4-day refeed at any
yeah.
point. You know what I mean? Everything has to kind of be ahead of schedule to do that. But in terms of approaching the refeed, I would just approach it the same way as an enhanced athlete.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would probably
Yeah,
be
I've
a
seen
little
good
quicker.
results doing that with people. Just treating it the exact same, like, and just kind of gauging it by how much fat they've already lost, or how close we are to getting that lean, or how far into the diet we already are. Like, do they need a little refresher? Do they need a 7-day, or maybe they need 10 days of pulling back and just not necessarily ramping calories way up, but like we said, staying at that maintenance calorie zone, whatever that is for that person at that point in time, and just kind of gauging it from that. But like you had said, Brad, like if you don't have time on your side, maybe you're just doing like one high day and then right back to lows again right after that, kind of thing.
Yeah, the timing of it definitely matters, because if you're 12 weeks out, you could run a 4-day refeed, like, and be up 5-6 pounds after that, and you're still good because you just pumped them full of a ton of food. Now their metabolism's going like
Cranking.
crazy, right? And you're gonna get this huge slingshot effect. But if you're 4 or 5 weeks out, you might not want them to be up 5-6 pounds from a refeed, right? You might want to be a little more conservative with it. So yeah,
So,
the timing of it definitely matters.
question to Max as the resident carb cycling expert here: how would you apply that kind of approach to a natural person? I don't see the reason you wouldn't. I'm curious though if maybe like a big influx of carbs like that would affect them differently. Maybe they'd have more or less trouble handling that in terms of like a blood sugar response. What would you do?
I've done it before for sure. I had one guy, and just to backtrack a little bit, I had one guy that did a natural show that you guys asked when you think you should add in a refeed. And if you do have the timeline, the key is kind of just not too late.
Hmm.
Because I had one guy who, when he was about 3 weeks out, he looked amazing. And I didn't give him a refeed because I got sort of almost greedy.
Hmm.
And I figured we could push him another level. And he just fell apart really quickly. And then when we tried to sort of recover it, I think he gained a little bit of body fat, sort of trying to. I had to give him too many refeeds, and then it didn't look right. So looking back, and he's not natural anymore, so I don't have a second chance to prep him like that. But looking back, I matured from it, and I realized like we should have had a little more time, and I would almost feed him up before he got to that perfect look that we had, so that. But as far as the carb cycling thing, we were doing it the whole time.
Nice.
Yeah,
What
like
did
we
that
were
kind of look
doing.
like for him?
I think leg day was like 400 grams of carbs, and his other workout days were like 200, and his rest days were like 50.
That's not bad. Like that's a decent
It's a
amount of
big
food
big
for a
guy
natty guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I could see some enhanced people dieting on less than that, and
for sure.
typically we're going to associate an enhanced person with carrying more muscle mass, which is why they're going to require more food.
I think the best examples to look at for natural bodybuilding is have you guys seen Team 3DMJ?
That's
They're kind of like
Sounds
the old
familiar, yeah.
like Alberto Nunez and is it
Yeah.
Eric Helms? Anyway, I brought him up earlier, but essentially he's like a 5'9" guy that in his peak at like the natural worlds, he's about 165 pounds.
Okay.
Kind of a smaller, I think he's Mexican, so like a smaller sort of ectomorphic frame. But that's one of those guys where I actually believe he's truly natural.
Like diced.
Yeah.
And I think the Eric Helms guy was maybe 5'10" or 5'11", 175, 180.
Nice.
And then there's Doug Miller, which is a whole other
Yeah.
debate.
That's who I was trying to remember, man. Doug Miller. He was the taller white guy.
It's tall.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the one always questionable if he was actually natural or not. Everyone
He
accused him of
owns
not being.
he owns Core Nutritionals.
Yeah. Yep.
Was he on Natty for Life?
I
Generation Iron.
think
Yeah,
so.
that's what he was on.
Yep.
Generation Iron.
Okay.
Yep. The Natty for Life thing.
Great physique.
Man.
Arms are
Yeah,
fucking.
great physique.
Yeah. Yeah, his detail was insane, man. Like his
Yeah.
back double, just like all the separation you see in his shoulders and stuff. Looks like just rakes went across his back right there.
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
All
All
right.
right.
Is there anything
What's
anybody
the
wants
next
to
question,
add to that, or?
I think we ran
just
that
wanna end off-
to the ground.
Yeah, not really like an X's and O's thing, but for the person in particular that asked this question, I'm pretty sure he's working with a coach. So I'm like, just general advice I could give him is just be the athlete and let your coach steer the ship. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, you can really get into your head with, how things are progressing. So try not to be super analytical about it. That's something I learned on my prep was just at a certain point, just take your check-in photos, send them to your coach and let him evaluate it and make the changes, and then do what you can, which is, give your best effort in the gym and just follow the plan and let everything else come together, because the stress of worrying about, am I going to be ready? Am I going to come in the best I can look? Am I going to place a certain way? You can really get to your head and be counterintuitive. So, that's honestly like just the best general advice I can give is just be the athlete, man. Like you have a coach for a reason. So, kind of turn your brain off and let him do his thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a very admirable thing for somebody to want to do like their first contest prep naturally. I think it's a very good idea too, because that ensuing rebound can be life changing if, let's say, the person decides to. Which actually, this is a question too. Do you guys think that rebound effect is still prevalent for now? I know it happens, but you think it's like this magical thing for naturals? I've seen some cases of it being pretty good, but I've never seen like a 10. Like we've seen some people, Joe Palacios for example, put on what looks like 20 pounds of actual tissue within a rebound period. Have we anybody here seen like something to that level for a natural, or even half of that?
Well, I would never consider what anyone does in a natural state to be
Of course.
even remotely close to what someone's going to do in a. I mean, Joe, he's a phenom. Like putting 20 pounds on a rebound of tissue.
Like 6 weeks.
I mean, that's let's think about like a regular person, a regular enhanced person putting on 5 to 7 pounds of rebound.
So what do you think a natural person can expect from a rebound? Because they're hearing all of these stories of guys like Joe. Whether a lot of us when we're first getting this are kind of naive and we think maybe we can accomplish things better than we can. So they're like, I don't need the compounds to do that, this, that, and the third. What do you think a natural person can actually expect from a rebound if they're perfect for like 10 weeks?
They can just expect a longer runway.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, really, realistically, yeah.
Which is worth something.
Exactly. That's very.
They might come up a couple pounds, like 2 or 3 maybe, but I think that you have to take it so slow, especially when you're natural on that rebound, because your metabolism isn't going to be, exogenously revved up essentially. So you're going to have to really just meticulously uptick that food at such a slow rate so that you're not gaining any body fat through that time.
Your body's going
But
to want to get fat.
yeah, it's going to want to store all the fat it can because you just starved it for, 30 weeks or however long it took you to get in shape. So
my thoughts
So
on that
reverse would be
is that like your hormones are going to be compromised too. So I think a hard rebound is probably not a good idea for a natural. Like you're going to want to reverse diet while keeping things as tight as possible to get your thyroid back in check,
Good
your
point.
testosterone back in check, and then I don't know how long that takes, but just keep it as tight as you can during that period,
Yeah.
and then hit it hard. Because I'm sure you can still keep it pretty fucking tight. Like if you're a robot for whatever 8-10 weeks to get that all those ducks in a row, and then hit it hard from there. But right out of the show, like I think if you try to rebound like an enhanced athlete, you're just gonna get way too fat. It's not gonna be favorable in my opinion.
That's a very good point.
Yes.
Now, in a perfect world, you compete naturally, and then you get on a nice cycle right after the show and
That's where I was
hit a
going.
rebound, and you're gonna absolutely mutate yourself.
Yeah.
that's my plan with my guy. We're doing the first show natty, and then the rebound is going to be sauced up, a little sauce getting thrown in there for the rebound effect.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Exactly where I was going. And I think that is a situation where you could see some pretty freaky shit happen. And it wouldn't take a lot.
Oh, 100%.
No,
No,
not
you
at
can
all.
run like your standard like 500 milligrams of test or less.
Maybe
with your
even
body,
less.
but-
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm going to push higher, but like that is a situation where you could probably throw somebody on 300 and they're just going to be able to explode from what I think. Maybe 500. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. I actually have a really good thought process on this one. How about this? Instead of just rebounding on the top, like doing the prep and then rebounding on the top, because it's going to take a little bit of time to hit peak levels anyways.
Yeah.
Hop on the top after the show, diet down a little bit longer, throw some T3s and T4 in there, let your thyroid come back to life.
That's a good idea.
And then diet down for like 2 more weeks, right? And then by that time, boom, fucking hit it hard.
Dude, I actually really like that idea because then you're like,
because you can pull them
you're
down
getting
even
things
lower.
revved up to like, yeah, you're getting it revved up to 100 miles an hour. You're getting yourself peeled all the way down, what you couldn't do naturally. Like you're getting that last bit off, and then you're hitting it hard with a full runway ahead. That's actually a really good thought process there. I like that.
And that's kind of going to depend on like, man, you got to start finding like, brother, please trust me. Like,
yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, you really got to trust the process. Like, because especially if this is like your first cycle, it's like, oh, okay, we're throwing in all this extra shit that you probably have no idea what it is, and that it's like, so at that point, you really just got to trust the process and listen to your coach.
You got to be a little fucked up in the head too, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I think you got to be fucked up in the head to want to compete naturally. Like, you really have to love it to compete naturally to the point where it's like, you know what? What's another 2 fucking weeks? Like, hey, go have your Saturday fun meal.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, go have breakfast or something, and then let's go right back to dieting. And trust me, in about 2 weeks, when things start really hitting peak, we are going to blow up like nobody's fucking business.
And to be fair, if we're talking about a 30-week contest prep, 2 more weeks, come on, you can do that shit.
Yeah, that's nothing, man. That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Well, and just the adding of the T3 and T4 is already going to ramp someone's metabolism up more. So your base diet is going to be a little bit higher than it was going down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and during that time, like, you're probably not just going to be like, you're not going to be digging on, protein veg. You're going to have a couple high days in there too, I'm sure. It's not just going to be 2 weeks of straight digging. I mean, I guess you could, but I don't know if that would be the move. But during that time, I don't think it would be like you'd be going through hell. Like, obviously you'd be hungry because you just prep for 30 weeks, but I think you could throw some food in there as well. So
definitely,
I love it.
I think that'd be the best circumstances situation if you can get someone to buy into the plan.
Yeah. All right, moving into our next question here. We got a lot to choose from. let's see here. I guess this kind of piggybacks a little bit off of this topic. Um, so the question is, I'll just read it verbatim. What would you say to pushing food higher at the beginning or some point at the cost of fat gain to help building a faster metabolism? So basically, I guess kind of maybe they're asking about the rebound. Like, would you push food higher in the beginning of a push and then just kind of let your body adjust to it, or no? Me personally, my automatic response is going to be no. I wouldn't push food high for no reason. Um,
I've tried it that way,
Yeah.
and I would say trying it both ways. Doing that, you're really shortening your progress. You're creating a window of time where you're going to have to do a lot of backpedaling. So, my opinion, any fat gain in a bodybuilding sense is never good. We're trying to present the best physique on stage. It's all about appearance.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to be as big as possible, but I truly don't think you need to put on a ton of fat in the off season to make that, to achieve that.
Yeah.
You can stay really lean and do that.
And I'm a big believer in pushing our food up higher, pushing body weight up higher, but we're talking over a long period of time.
Like the way you did it, man, was so, I mean, dude, that was like the way you executed this off season. That was pretty impressive, man. Like you kept your composition extremely tight the whole way through. And, it even improved, in my opinion, in some areas. And, you just, I really think you did it like to a T how it should be done, man. There wasn't any point in time where it was like, well, he's getting too soft or anything like that. It was like, and you got to, continuously ramp that food up. For how long was that off season? Like 6 months?
From May to 4 weeks ago, basically.
Oh, dude, that's a long fuck. I mean, that's commendable right there, dude. That's tough money right there. Yeah.
So basically, the way I did it,
in my opinion, I would say do what Anson did for the best off-season approach.
To kind of give like an outline for that, there was a little bit of a food jump in the beginning, but that's just because my peak week was handled in a very odd way. I had that issue that Max was talking about, where basically, I guess the person was too greedy, and instead of refeeding me early, my metabolism just kept going down and spun out until about 2 weeks out. Then I got my first refeed at 2 weeks out and a 21-week prep, I think it was. And then my metabolism just kept kicking up. I needed more and more and more food to not be like absurdly flat to the point to where it looked like I was a fucking swimmer. And that meant I had to go into peak week with about 5,000 calories a day. And then my weight started dropping. And then I think it ended up going up to about 5.5. Is that what caused my weight to hold? So that was about what my calories were going into the week after the show. So I started with pretty high runway, but then it started to almost, it's the bell curve, right? It was good, it was okay for a while, and then boom, it dropped off. So I then made the decision to actually take that first week after the show. I just did protein and veg for a couple days, getting some bloat and some water off of me. And then I want to say my baseline calories were around 4,900, 4,800. And then I want to say they stuck there for a while. I probably only increased my food every, May, June, maybe once a month, if even. And that was in a rebound process, like where you are typically going to be adding food pretty quickly. And then my food sat at about 5,500 calories until I got with Joe in August. And then he immediately bumped me up to like 6,500 because I actually was holding myself way too far back. Like I wasn't even having like libido. That's how fucking bad I was. I was still in contest prep, is what it felt like. So I definitely didn't do things perfectly. That's for sure. I probably would have actually been a bit more aggressive in the beginning, but then held so that I wouldn't have had to make a jump and then a big jump to overcompensate for the issues that I had prior. And then my food stayed at 6,500 calories for another 4 or 5 weeks. Then it dropped on a cruise, and then it basically went back. And it kind of held at that starting point of the next blast for the majority of that 16-week long off-season cycle. I maybe got one food bump during that time, and I ended at 7,000 calories. So I was eating a lot of food, but it wasn't like a food bump every week, food bump here, food bump here. It was just really precise, methodical food bumps at the points when I needed them, and then we just let it ride. If you're getting changes to your plan every week, something is usually wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no change is good. Is like no change is good news most of the time. In my opinion, obviously, you know, when it gets closer to showtime and things like that, things are changing a little quicker. But you know, when you're growing, if you're responding well and you're not having to constantly feed more and more and more food, I kind of like that spot to be in my opinion, because then, you know, training isn't ever going to be impeded by having to get in so many calories that, like, you know, you're bloated in the gym or anything like that. Kind of where I found myself this last off season. It was like the calories got high so quickly, that, you know, it was like I didn't get time to get acclimated to the calories, and then my training really started bogging down, like it's mainly leg days, things like that, because the food just was ramped up so high so quick. It was like I you know, I couldn't keep up with it essentially, metabolically. So now we're, you know, in the mini cut, and it's like all those things that I was like noticing training taking a hit in, digestion, all these things are just like within 3 weeks of doing a mini cut, everything is, you know, back to 100%. So it's like maybe we should have just not put on all that weight so quickly from the jump, and just, you know, I probably would have been here had I just left my food a little bit lower the whole time. I would have been at this 279 versus going up to, you know, 301 and then back down to 279. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Had I just taken it really meticulously and slow, like you had done, probably would have, you know, stayed, had a lot longer runway basically, and then not had to do a mini cut, and probably would have got here around the same amount of time, you know, and potentially looked a lot better because I didn't get, you know, wouldn't have gotten so soft. Which, no knock on this approach. I think it did, you know, serve its purpose from like just recovering from the show and stuff like that, and just giving myself a break because last year was a long year. But yeah, man, I think the low and slow and steady is the best way for sure.
So I think it definitely, I think it would depend really on someone's journey.
Yeah.
And how low their food is to begin with. Like if we're talking someone who's eating like 50 grams of carbs a day, which I've seen it, yeah, I'm a little okay with them getting a little bit softer just by ramping it and then letting their body kind of grow into that food. Now, I'm not making like crazy food bombs, but instead of like 50 grams of carbs, maybe like, okay, let's start with 150 and just kind of see what happens for a little bit.
Which is
and then
3x.
Hopefully, yeah, it's like hopefully, you know, we could get you to a point where you're not fucking starving on your high days. But if you're already someone who's eating a decent amount of food, I definitely think the slow and steady approach is the best option, because you don't want to get that metabolism so fucking high that it's like, okay, what the fuck do we do with it now? Like, are you going to eat 10,000 calories to fucking budge any weight?
I think
because at that point,
once you get to 7, 8, it's time to stop trying to do that. Is what I think. I kind of matured into that thought process.
I think so too, man. It's like you gotta pull it back at that point, because that's not sustainable. You know, how long can you truly go on eating like 8,000 a day? That's tough. Well, even like I got up to what was like 6,800. I was like, man, this is tough. That's the most I've had to eat, you know, consistently. That's tough money, man.
Yeah.
You got to think about it. Your body's fighting you back the entire time and eating that much food. And I don't just mean like mentally, I mean like
physically.
You know, it's going to be physically. It's going to have a fucking toll on your gut health. It's going to have a toll on, you know, your pancreas. Fucking, you're going to have to push a lot of exogenous stuff just to be able to keep that food at that level. So I mean, I think it really is just like context. Getting like, how low is your food to begin with?
Yeah.
Or how high is the food? Like, are you just wanting to eat 800 grams of carbs for the sake of eating 800 grams of carbs? Not a reason to. If you can get by eating 300 grams of carbs to grow, keep it there. But if you're eating 50 grams of carbs, and you know you're kind of growing off that, let's try to get you a little bit higher.
I would agree. That makes total sense. If it's that, that's somewhere you got to get them somewhere like something sustainable for sure, somewhere to build from. Because like if you're eating less than 100 grams of carbs a day, that's a tough place to start. Metabolically.
Could you imagine a prep? You're starting prep at like 100 grams of carbs. Like, fuck.
Oh yeah, and that's why I believe in pushing the food up high, is so that you have a higher starting point for prep. But and I also believe there's just certain people like Chad Nichols and different old school coaches have talked about the just the I know the metabolic effect of food, and also just people from that time period. You know, there's something about feeding your body as much as it can tolerate and as much protein, because every time we eat, all these different signals in our body to grow are happening. mTOR, just to name one of them, muscle protein synthesis, blah blah blah, a bunch of different ones, but I believe if we can eat fairly frequently and a fairly good amount of food, we will grow more. Like I truly have seen in myself, eating 7,000, 6,000 calories will cause me to grow more than eating 4,000, 5,000, even if the surpluses are somewhat the same for my body at that time. But you can only take it so far. There's no fucking person on this planet who should be eating 10,000 calories in their off season. You're just going to have a blown out waist at that point. There's no way you're going to be able to tolerate that amount of carbs without having to just shove insulin all day. And you can really forget about being able to take a lot of exogenous growth too if you're eating that much, because
the water retention.
Yeah, that too.
Well, every gram of carb has water.
Exactly. Yeah.
I can't remember exactly the ratio, but it's like with how much water fluctuations you'd have during that day, and adding growth hormone in. Oh my god, it's Ema City.
Bro theory question for y'all. Do you think that using like the amount of insulin that you would need to use eating, like let's just say hypothetically somebody was eating, 10,000 calories, however many carbs a day, plus like 500 grams of protein. Do you think they'd be taking enough insulin to get the same IGF response that you would from the GH anyway? If you're just using so much insulin and eating so many carbs.
So, like, how many carbs do we think that would be? It'd have to be 1,500 at least, right?
I was going to say at least something like that, 1,500, somewhere in there. Yeah. If we just said 500 grams of protein, what's that? That's
2,000.
900. Yeah. What is that?
2,000 calories. Let's say they're doing 100 grams of fat. That's another 900 calories.
Yeah.
You think you're only going to get 100 grams of fat and 10,000 calories? Well, bro, they're going to be like 200.
Let's say 200.
Kind of way isolate over here.
Let's say 6,000 calories of carbs. That's 1,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a pretty penny.
To the level of taking like 10 units of exogenous growth? No, I don't think so. And so, like, how much insulin would you guys personally need to manage that? Like, for me, on 1,000 carbs, I was only taking 30 units of Lantus on 2 days a week and 10 units of Humalog post-workout. Like, I don't require a lot of insulin, but I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was curious, like, if you did, if you were somebody that could run, like, you hear people just pushing crazy, like, whole pins of Lantus a day and shit. Crazy. Like, if you were doing, like, one of those crazy setups, would you even need, the GH at that point?
I actually think that they used to purposefully not do GH on those days for some reason. They would, like, alternate GH insulin. That was an approach somebody had.
Yeah.
It's probably to control the water.
Probably.
Yeah. And the blood sugar levels.
Yeah.
You're not going to be insulin sensitive with the high food.
No.
I don't care who you are.
And I wonder.
And you have to be doing so much cardio and shit just to, like, man, I don't even think it'd be possible, man, just, like, to offset all that.
Yeah.
Let's try it. Fuck it. Who's down?
That's why there's.
I mean, you're the guy with the frame for. You're the only guy with the frame for that. I mean,
dude, I seem to bitch out at about 6,500 calories and about 2 grams of gear. That's about all I can do, and fucking all the food I can eat. So I'm like, whatever we can do with this, let's see how far it goes, and then I'll push it.
I mean, like big strongman guys, like they do eat like that. They do eat like that, but I mean, obviously their diet's not structured like a bodybuilder's is. But I'd be surprised if any of them are really. Maybe they're using like a therapeutic amount of insulin, but they're not using insulin. Like,
so basically,
I would think they're just using like a prophylactic amount of insulin. I guess that's the right word.
Yeah, and the powerlifting and strongman community, you're going to find very few people actually using insulin. But here's the thing, though: you barely find them using growth either, which is surprising. You would assume.
No.
Yeah.
Well, think about this. They can't fucking hold
I
on
know.
to shit on growth.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get
That's
at.
the conversation I actually have with them. Sorry,
Yeah.
fuck.
No,
I'm
you're good.
sorry. That's it.
You're good. I was going to say it's because they can't handle like carpal tunnel. No fucking way. And you got to remember, a lot of these guys cannot pull with straps, especially in powerlifting. They have to have grip strength. So and honestly, nowadays they really don't use that much anabolics either, unless it's around the meat. Like it's a lot of stuff going into the meat. But like their off season, off season. I know some strong guys who are running under a gram total.
Well,
That are like close to 300 pounds.
I don't think you need that much anabolics just to get strong.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, there's a pro guy at our gym. I forgot his last name. Matt. I have to remember his last name, but he was telling me, because I was curious, man. I asked him kind of what he does. I'm thinking they're just hardcore with orals and stuff like that. He's actually pretty intelligent with his approach. He said that he really likes using like just a little bit above TRT, and then he leans pretty heavy on the mass, and then going into because that way he can keep his weight down, but he's still strong
as well.
And then he said going into the contest, he'll like, some Anadrol or something like that after he makes weight and stuff, pops some few Anadrols, go in and, hit his lifts and he's good to go. I was like, that's pretty interesting. You actually I was thinking it was just, wild, wild west, take whatever you get your hands on, like, D-ball as much as you can handle and things like that. And he was like, nah, man, we've gotten a little bit smarter. At least the people he's around and shit. It's
I was
cool.
going to say, I'm sure it's evolved. Like, I'm sure, a decade or two ago, it was maybe a little more of the Wild West approach. But I guess so was bodybuilding. But I think strength sports have really evolved and became a little more methodical. Like even with their diets and stuff. The guy's name doesn't come to the top of my head, but he's got a YouTube channel, and I know he coaches a lot of strongmen, and like he's got them on pretty much bodybuilding diets.
Joe Sullivan.
And no, it's not him.
What the heck?
But yeah, that's him. Yeah. So, because a couple decades ago, all those guys, they were just eating fucking pizza, burgers, ice cream, all that shit. But at the end of the day, they're still athletes. So a more nutritious diet that's going to digest well, and their body's going to utilize properly. Obviously they're going to perform a lot better. So I'm sure they've also dove a lot more into the more methodical PED use as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like John Heck, man. That is who you were talking about, right?
Yeah, that's it.
I really like his approach to the nutrition, like he's really like micronutrient focused. I've actually been watching quite a bit of his stuff lately on just his approach to the food side of things.
Yeah, I think he's in North Carolina.
And I know he does like the carb cycling, like Justin Harris style.
He works with Justin, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's his coach. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes sense. I don't think he's that big on fruits, except on your high days.
Yeah.
Because I think, and maybe it was a short that I saw, and he was like, "Yeah, you don't want to have fruits on like your medium days. You want to say those for your high days." And like that is something dumb and shit.
No fruits at all, or not really like pushing them. Like, was he like on medium days? Like
medium days, just go for like rice and protein.
Yeah.
But Justin Harris is very much the steak, rice, and repeat, which I don't believe is fucking true at all. But
I think it works, but it leaves a lot of things to be desired.
It leaves you with horrible digestion and poor gut health.
Yeah.
That's all.
Dude, I can process so much more food now that I've been like I used to be just a rice and meat and maybe eat veggie like once a day. Now that I'm getting like fruits, vegetables in like throughout the entire day, bro, I can eat so much more food. My composition's way tighter. It's interesting, man. I used to just be, like I said, meat and rice and repeat kind of thing. And now I'm trying to be a little more I'm trying to, wisen up as a bodybuilder. So I'm like, all right, what can I do? So I'm focused a little more on the micronutrient side of things and shit like that. And it does make a difference, man. Believe it or not, it does.
And you feel better.
Oh, I feel so much better. Energy wise and everything, man. I feel like my CNS, it's weird, but like I feel like my CNS isn't quite as zapped out all the time, if that makes sense. Like,
recovering better.
You know how you kind of just get run down from training and it's like you just kind of feel wired all the time a little bit. It's like I can get into that, that high intensity zone and then get out of it and get into a recovery state a lot easier. Maybe it could be a placebo effect, but I mean, I feel like over time, the past month and a half, it's made a huge difference.
I think you're also, all of that is true, but you're also a bit lighter. You said you had dropped like 20 pounds, right?
Yeah, that too is playing a huge part, man. Like, yeah, what's weird is I'm a little lighter. Well, I'm that much lighter, but like strength is improving a bit,
Yeah.
and I think it's just like a cardiovascular standpoint, man. I can take sets way further now.
Yeah.
And I'm not dying out.
Exactly. All right. Well, unless anybody else has anything else to add there, or let's say we move on to the next question. I got a fun one for us.
What you got?
Top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Ooh.
And they don't have to be bodybuilding related, obviously.
They're not.
Yeah.
Good one.
Okay, I'll start off. So I'm not a movie guy at all. Like, you could name all the popular movies, and I haven't seen any of them. Like Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, really?
Any like those never seen any of them.
Wow.
I've just never been into movies.
Okay.
The only movies I can get engaged to at all, it has to be a comedy.
Oh.
So today, and honestly, it's probably been a good 2 or 3 years since I've watched a movie. So these are going to be pretty old ones that I name. Top 3 would be Superbad.
That's a good one.
Fuck,
Classic, dude.
But yeah,
that's one of mine.
That movie's fucking awesome. Pineapple Express with Seth Rogen.
Okay. Yeah.
Good one too.
I used to love that one because when I was in high school, like smoking weed and stuff. So, I watched that movie all the time back then. And then number 3 would probably be Step Brothers. That movie's fucking
damn
legendary.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's a pretty banger list right there.
Yeah.
I guess we can just go in order. So Brad starts, so then Madisyn, then Max, then Bobby, and then I'll go last. Unless you don't have your 3.
Tough, I'm gonna have to say, all right. So I'm kind of like Brad, man. I'm not too crazy big on movies, but I've got a few, dude. So I'm gonna say number 1 is probably Inception.
Okay.
Which I like the mind benders, like the psychological kind of thrillers. So that's definitely number 1. And then let's see, number 2, dude, The Green Mile, I think it is.
Oh my
That's
god.
a sick movie.
That movie, I've never seen that until probably like a month and a half ago, and maybe 2 months ago, something like that. And my wife was like, "It's a classic movie. How have you not seen it?" So we watched it, and I was like, "Actually, pretty good. It aged pretty well, even though it's got some corny like CGI effects in it that didn't, they kind of look a little tacky now, but the storyline and everything is pretty solid. So that's a good one, dude. And then honestly, I'm gonna say number 3 is probably Friday Night Lights.
Okay.
The football movie. You guys ever seen that one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I know of it.
That movie made me cry to my mom to let me play football versus instead of soccer one year, because I saw it and I was like, I know I'm destined to play football. You have to let me play. And she was like, all right, we're gonna sign you up because I watched that and I was like obsessed with football from that point. Banger right there.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. This is tough. I am a huge movie guy, so it's actually harder for me.
Yeah.
I really like Wedding Crashers. I don't know if you guys have seen that. These are the ones that are coming to mind. I got 2 comedies. I like the Meet the Parents movies.
Okay,
Those are hilarious. And then if we're going more serious, I would have to go like Shawshank, maybe.
Oh, that's a cool one too. Yeah, that's a classic.
It's a thinker for sure. And I love anything Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some of his older stuff's really good.
Yeah, people will shit on Adam Sandler, man, but like, who has made more like family-friendly movies that like all ages can enjoy than Adam Sandler?
Just so you feel so good watching them, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, and he's a true homeboy, man. He like put all his friends on he gives them all a role in like every movie he does. He's like, all right, even if they're just like an extra, standing off on the side, he's like finds a way to get all his like family and friends involved in what he's got going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty cool, man.
Didn't know that. That's so fucking wholesome.
Yeah, people roast him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Adam Sandler doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I don't care if
No.
this movie bombed. I'm just gonna do this with my homies,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
Awesome.
That's why they work.
So I'm a huge movie buff as well, like Max, and so I really had to think about this, and it actually changes for me quite often. But I think so. This is in no particular order, but I'll probably go Fast and Furious, the first one,
Yeah.
just because that was super iconic.
The
but
first
early,
like
that was
3
super-
are great.
Banger.
Yes, agreed. But I think the first one, which is like that was the first one I saw, super iconic for me. You know, I loved it. I loved the whole, just everything about it. Second one, I'll go for like a serious like movie, like one that just like, and it's not because it was just like such a wow, this is so great movie, but it was because of the feelings that it could invoke upon someone.
Yeah.
With Uncut Gems,
Yeah.
which is the Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
dude, yeah,
like I said,
that's a good
the
one.
reason why is you're on your seat, like you have the anxiety of this fucking dude the whole time, and it's like for a movie to invoke that type of emotion to someone, I think it's just amazing. People are like, "Oh, that movie sucked." It's like, yeah, because you felt like you felt like you were in this dude's shoes the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. It was like a super anxiety, like high anxiety movie because he's like
Right.
on the edge, constantly about to lose his ass, like the whole movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good
He
one.
did.
I forgot about that movie, man.
And then because I also really love cartoons as well, I'll go with Moana. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
You know, just especially when I get like in prep settings and my mind's just mush, I like to
That's right.
lean more to like Disney and
Yeah.
you know Pixar and all that type of stuff. And so I'm just kind of like lean on the stuff that just makes me feel good.
Yeah. I don't think there's
Uh-huh.
really many bad Pixar movies. Maybe like
No.
a couple of the newer ones. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good newer ones too. I mean,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like
That Puss in Boots
You
one,
know what?
that was phenomenal.
yeah, that was amazing. Any of the Shreks are just
Yeah.
fucking amazing, to be honest.
Yeah.
Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is goated.
Yes.
Yeah, if you just want to fucking throw it on and just like have a feel good fucking movie and you just want
Yeah.
to forget about the world, turn your phone off and just watch Shrek.
Soundtrack too.
Yeah.
What about
fucking
Soundtrack.
Ice Age, man? Those are some
Yeah.
bangers too. The first and second one.
Oh,
I grew up with those.
oh my god, with the little rat too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah, dude, those are classics. When my kids are trying to find movies, I'm like, let's watch Ice Age. They're like, no, they never want to watch. I'm like,
Yeah.
y'all are missing out. I'm telling you, this is a classic.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch Elemental?
No,
I've
I've seen
heard
the
of that.
premise, but I've not watched it.
Bro,
That's
it's so good. Me and my wife, we watched it. We were just fucking hooked
Yeah.
on it. We were like, this is fucking sick.
I've probably watched almost every Disney movie with my wife now in the past, however long we've been together since 2018. So I've had a chance to watch all of them. Just about. Did you name all 3 of yours?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry, I kind of went off on like tangents of other ones too.
I've watched so many movies that I'm probably forgetting what some of my favorite movies are. But
You guys fuck with the Matrix?
yeah.
Oh yeah, big time.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I debated if I wanted to include that or not. I probably would just because it was so pivotal to me. Like, my dad was a huge Matrix fan growing up. Like, I had all the video games, everything. So that would
Dude,
probably...
the games were sick for the
Yeah.
PS2.
I'd
They were
probably have
sick.
that in as like an honorable mention for me. But first and foremost, I would just say all 6 episodes of Star Wars. I say all 6 because the latter 3 don't exist. But all of those.
4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I've seen all of those probably at least 10 times, each one. So, and if I had to pick one, I would be stuck between 5 or 3. Those would be the ones that I'm stuck between.
Good choices.
Besides Star Wars, and that's really what I grew up on for the most part with Star Wars.
You know,
I'd have
I'll
to
commend
say,
you for saying 3
yeah,
because every Star Wars fan that I've met hates the first 3, and I'm like, those are I'm like, those are amazing though.
Small tirade.
Like the third.
Yeah, the first one is great, but they rhyme, right? So same problem with 4. 4 is boring as shit if you've already seen it, for the most part, except for the final act. The final act is very, very fun to watch. Phantom Menace, boring as shit until you get to the Darth Maul fight, and then it's the fucking coolest thing ever. Episode 2 is kind of in the middle, but the final act is phenomenal. Really, the final half of that movie is phenomenal. And in episode 3, start to finish, banger of a movie, great fights, emotions all over the place, phenomenal movie. And then 5 is a legend. It just, if you haven't seen episode 5, you have to watch it. And then 6 is kind of like slightly below those for me, just because a lot of it is really just wrapping up the franchise, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I didn't know you had that side of you.
Yeah, I love Star Wars, man. I've played every video game there is for Star Wars. I've read every book. I've read
Battlefront, man. Battlefront 2 back in the day.
The old school, on like the PS1 or 2. It was PS2.
Oh, the best. Or Clone Wars.
Yeah. All the animated series too. The old school Clone Wars too, where the guy who did Samurai Jack animated it. That's really good.
So sick.
But I was Samurai Jack.
Yeah, man.
What a good show.
Yeah. But so Star Wars in general for one, and then I would have to say probably Terminator 2 if I have to pick like one. I like all the Terminator movies, but that even kind of the shittier ones, just as a guilty pleasure, like 3, and I think there was a 4. I don't remember, but then they had
but the 3 had the chick in it.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like they kind of almost like reset the universe, I think, or something. It's been a while since I've watched that one, and I liked the newer one. Not the one. God, they made even newer ones. But what was it? Salvation. That wasn't a bad movie either. I just like that universe. I like a lot of these sci-fi universes where there's a lot to go off like that, where they envelop you in a world of back. I think maybe we're almost kind of going back to that hysteria, but back when those movies were, of course they were before my time, but people would always talk about like this is going to happen one day where AI and robots are going to take over the world, and I'm sure people are probably circling back to the idea. But my third, I don't even know what I could pick for my third movie, man. It's tough.
Dude, that just reminded me of War of the Worlds.
Yeah,
I think it's called.
I think I would have to.
Yeah, that was super online with what you were saying. Like people used to be freaked out by like that book. I guess
I was scared of that movie as a kid, man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I'd probably have to pick the Lord of the Rings franchise as my third.
Okay.
And if I had to pick one, that's fucking tough. Probably the last to be what I pick. I like the finales typically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But,
so, Anson, have you ever seen the 100?
Yes, phenomenal show, and
I loved it.
Like all CW shows, phenomenal in the beginning, middle was good, the end is kind of what the fuck is this,
dude?
I gave up on
it. I couldn't finish season 7, but the season leading up to that, I was fucking hooked.
Dude, me and my wife have watched that show 4 times. It's amazing.
It's a great show.
Is this the show where it's like the only 100 people left on Earth or something like that?
Yeah, they get dropped on like a planet or whatever.
So I guess just
I need to check it out. Then. Since y'all are saying it's good, I might actually give it a shot. Good. I keep seeing it on there on
I feel
Prime.
I feel like you can't say movies without mentioning shows too. So let's just do like a quick hitter for 3 favorite shows as well. For me, 3 favorite shows. I would have to pick like number 1 would probably be. I would have to say either Bleach or Dragon Ball. Growing up, those are my 2 main shows. I'd probably go for Bleach.
Love Bleach.
I'd probably go for Bleach. I spent way more time into that. Past that, I could probably just list 45 different fucking animes I've watched growing up. So
I got my 3.
Yeah.
Number 1, Lost. Number 2, Breaking Bad. Number 3, The Office.
Breaking Bad number 2 for sure. Honestly, Breaking Bad number 2, Better Call Saul number 3. Or no. Breaking Bad / that kind of universe. Better Call Saul is 2. The Walking Dead is 3. I'm a sucker for that.
Oh,
shit.
We've got similar lists.
Mine's for it, dude. It's awful, and I
mine's
love it.
Breaking Bad, Animal Kingdom, and then Ozark.
Animal Kingdom's really. God, Ozark. Fuck Bleach. Ozark goes in number one.
Yeah, I love
Ozark is
Jason
a banger,
Bateman.
dude.
Jason Bateman's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he's a good ass actor, man. He was in the. Have you seen that new one? He's in The White Rabbit, I think it's called.
Vikings
Yeah.
is so good too, though. Vikings
That one's
has
good.
to be in there somewhere.
I'm
Have you
also
guys
not
watched Mayor
a show
Pizza?
guy, but
Yeah.
Come on,
sorry,
Brad.
I'll just go over my list quick. Not a show guy as well, but I'd say probably The Office. One show I really liked. I don't know if you guys seen it. Shameless.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I'll pick one from like my childhood because I can't think of any more. Probably say like probably Drake and Josh. That was
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, legendary.
My wife has
That's a good one.
rewatched Drake and Josh probably 45 times.
Oh,
I
man.
just hear it playing in the house.
Yeah, that show was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
All right. That was a fun
So-
question.
So mine will always rotate for shows. But I'll tell you guys which show the one currently is Mayor of Kingstown.
Very good show.
Fucking amazing.
Sylvester Stallone is a badass in that, man.
Was it Orange Country?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
believe that's what.
fucking
And then Sons of Anarchy.
Yellowstone, by the way. Fucking crazy.
Oh, I've heard that was really good, man.
Phenomenal.
There's like diehard Yellowstone fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing show.
What about Sons of Anarchy? You guys like that one too?
Oh my God. And the Mayans, I think it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, they had the
Phenomenal.
spin-off of it too.
Yeah.
I watched the Mayans. I actually didn't watch Sons of Anarchy, man. I need to go back and watch that.
So funny thing about Breaking Bad too, though. I actually was born in that city, and I lived there until I was 13.
Cool.
So I know all the scenes that it's filmed in.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
I'm like, oh, I used to play at that park when I was little.
Oh,
And let me tell you something. Yes, it is just that ghetto too.
yeah.
Crazy.
I think it's one of those things which we kind of have a similar issue here where I live, but it's like when there's nothing for people to do, they just go to drugs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, moving on back into the space of bodybuilding.
That was so fun.
Yeah, that was awesome. So, I think we're all going to have a similar answer to this here. But the question is, what do you guys think of using Clean on rest days with lower calories while training days are at maintenance to recomp or mini cut? That's all the information I was given.
Not a
Are
fan.
they meaning like to only
In off-season.
implement Clean only on their rest day?
I think basically how I view this question, I could be wrong. The person is in off season, and let's say body fat has kind of got out of hand. They want to, for a period of time on their training days, have maintenance calories, whatever that means, and then on their rest days, push calories lower, and I guess just have Clean on those rest days.
If
I would
body
never
fat is
do
too
that.
high,
Yeah, very bad idea.
just
No.
use the Clean and keep it in every
I
day and
wouldn't
actually
use
do a
Clean in
mini cut.
off-season. Yeah, I wouldn't use a Clean in off season though. It'd have to be in a mini cut, like
No.
you're saying.
We sweat.
Yeah, like I would just go ahead and switch directions if you're too fat. Like
Yeah.
no sense in trying to, fine tooth comb a little bit of fat loss off one day out of the week. Like you're turning your wheels,
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those like trying to reinvent the wheel type thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
trying to come up with some new sort of like protocol, but no one's doing this because if this was effective, people would be doing it. It's
100%.
This just isn't a thing at all.
There's
No.
not.
I know there's.
And the Clean's not going to work with one dose in one day. It needs time to actually do its job. It's not going to really,
You were gonna say
So it's not
also-
going to be out of your system within that day.
Yeah.
Let's be realistic about that as well. It's
Yeah.
going to be in there for about a day and a half. So it's kind of like, what are you really doing? You kind of just waste your money at that point.
Yeah.
if somebody was looking like truly, like, let's just hypothetically speak here, if you really wanted some like acute fat loss and you were trying to only burn fat on that day, maybe yohimbine and ephedrine pre-fasted cardio, something like that. If you wanted like an acute fat loss that's going to get in, do its job, get out. But if you're trying to like implement clean in some fashion like that, it's just too long of a half-life, like Bobby was saying. And then it just, I mean, what are you going to accomplish in one day, you know?
Yeah.
So another aspect is instead of using drugs to leverage fat loss, just remove all your carbs from that day. Why not? It's going to do more than
And
what
I think
fun's going to do.
they are saying
That would do
to be
more
fair.
than all that, honestly.
Yeah, to give some credit to the person asking the question, I think that is also the idea, is that they would have, other things than just drugs doing, like they would pull back on their diet. It just says pull back on the diet, but I would assume that means carbs, because most people are not specifically going to pull back on their protein or their fats on a given day. Maybe we would have some advanced reason for that, but I just don't see a reason to do something half-assed. Personally, I'm gonna go whole ass the whole time. That's why even a mini cut is usually, we're pretty aggressive on that. Like, it's a mini cut because of the duration of time we're doing it for, not because of the effort we're applying to it.
Yeah.
I do really like Madisyn's suggestion of using like stimulants in that way before fasted cardio. Like if it's a case of him wanting to, really minimize the use of fat burners or stimulants or whatever, and he just wants to really dig on these couple days, and obviously he's in a phase of fat loss. I think that's a reasonable approach to say, okay, on these low days, I'm going to use some yohimbine or some extra caffeine or ephedrine or whatever pre-fasted cardio. Just kind of double down on that. But I don't think Clen in particular is the move here.
The thing is, though, why would we do that just on the low days?
Well, I mean, I'm saying if he wants to minimize the stimulant use, that's the only context I would do it in. Because sometimes, like, if you are abusing stimulants like that, you could get pretty spun out pretty quick. So I do see a bit of merit in just using it sporadically like that, a few days a week. Like, because I mean, I've been on contest prep where I'm using stimulants every day, and it does kind of make you feel like shit eventually. So I think
it's that point where they're like, you're relying on them to carry you through the day, kind of thing. And you feel like shit.
For me, it wasn't even. Well, I don't know. Maybe for me it was different because honestly, like I just felt like I was on it 24/7 at certain points. So it's just like, but the word I always use is spun out. Like, you feel like stimulated, but also like tired at the same time. Like, it's just like, you're just like a mental wreck. I don't know. That's how I kind of put it.
It becomes your new normal.
Yes.
It's like you got the gas pedal down to the floor, but you're in park. Like you're just revving the shit out of your engine in park.
That's exactly it. That's it right there. That's exactly
it.
Another tool. Oh,
you're good.
Another tool this guy could use too, and this is something that Andrew Barry and Milos will actually talk about as well.
Oh, I know what I think.
And why don't you have fat burning times during the day? And then, around your training, that's when you keep your food at that maintenance level.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah. And that'll actually keep you in a recomp state as well without sacrificing training performance and without pumping more stimulants. Like, if you're worried about the stimulants, don't do the stimulants. It's not necessary. This is off season.
Exactly. I personally don't want somebody using any stimulants in the off season outside of some caffeine from time to time. That's really it.
Yeah. Yeah, try to keep all that.
Don't tell me not to use DMAA.
But I mean, the way I see it is, honestly, I view the stimulants as probably one of the more dangerous things we do in bodybuilding. So I personally just want to minimize my exposure to that, especially as I've gotten older. That's something that I've been very intentional about, to actively have my stimulant use go down each year. Like, this is the first off season I've ever had where I'm not slamming 300 milligrams of caffeine multiple times a day. So
I'm right there with you, dude. This is the first year in many years where I haven't been, 2 or 3 monsters deep by this point of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the off season, you're so prone to like elevated heart rate already, high blood pressure. Throw stimulants on top of that. That's definitely a recipe for cardiovascular issues. It's a little different in prep when you're a little more fit and blood pressure's down, heart rate's down. Even though it's still not healthy, but you're definitely a lot less prone to those issues compared to the off season.
Yeah. One thing that I got from Kuba actually is, rather than doing like a high dose of caffeine immediately pre-workout, spacing it out a little bit throughout the day, I find that has me feeling better. Like, just for example, today I had a couple clients in the morning. I took a 200 milligram caffeine pill just to like be present and be awake. I don't drink coffee really. And then I trained a little while before this. I took another 200 milligrams of caffeine, and that felt better than if I were to feel like shit the beginning of the day and have no energy and then slam 400.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys,
Makes
but
sense.
like in the off season, I'm not chasing like that caffeine high, like
No.
where I maybe would in prep. I'm just kind of looking for that, nervous system stimulation that the caffeine can provide. So that totally makes sense if you kind of reduce the dose and spread it out throughout the day. That could make a lot of sense because I know that's not something I do. Like I still do slam 300 milligrams of caffeine before my workout, but um, basically the rest of the day after training, like I feel pretty shitty, and like that's probably mostly from the caffeine. Like it's hard to come down from that.
I was
Yeah.
looking at like
L-theanine post-workout.
I was looking at a product list for supplements and stuff, and I legitimately, shit you not, I had forgotten pre-workout existed for a hot second. I was looking like, oh, they have a pre-workout. I forgot about those. I haven't used that shit in forever. Like I've probably been doing like 80 milligrams of caffeine a day from my black coffee, 1 cup. I've been doing that my entire off season, really nothing else.
Wow.
I will say
That's-
maybe like 5 leg days this entire off season where I just didn't sleep too good the night before or something like that. I've slammed a RTD that we had at the drink, which is already the drink pre-workout. That's it.
I've been trying to lean a lot more on the net, like just coffee, black coffees and stuff. Where, like I said, in the past, I've leaned on monsters and stuff like that. I will say it seems like it's a lot more of like a sustained energy. Like it doesn't obviously you start sipping your coffee, you're awake and alert, but like it seems like it stays with you a lot longer through the day too. Like I'll drink my coffee, I'm good for quite a few hours before, I might want a second one. And that's pretty much it for the day. Like what is that? Maybe 100 milligrams of caffeine each coffee or something.
Yeah.
So
I
I
find
actually
the
take
same
that
with
Cuba.
yeah, go ahead. I was just gonna say I find the same with coffee compared to like synthetic caffeine.
Yeah, it's like the synthetic will hit like really hard, and then an hour later you're like, groggy, kind of feeling tired and shit. But it's interesting.
So I actually take that Cuba approach as well. And actually, so what I used to do is I used to do instant coffee around 10:40 a.m. because I don't like to have it right when I wake up. I believe it does exactly the opposite of what we need it to do. If you take it right before you wake up, it also drives the cortisol up, making your blood sugar spike as well. So I prefer to have it, kind of after I have my meal too. But I switched it to having 2 cups of green tea instead of just 1 cup of coffee. I'll space the green tea after meal 2 and then after meal 3. And I actually feel like it has even better sustained energy than coffee. Like I don't get a crash like I would from coffee. So, because whereas when I'd have that cup of coffee, by the time I'm going to work out, which is around like 6 p.m., I'm just kind of like groggy and tired. But with the green tea, it just feels like more natural, more sustained. It doesn't feel as I'll just put it as like it feels cortisol spiky.
Okay. And everybody's different too. We all process things very differently. There are people who will drink a cup of coffee and fall asleep because they get the opposite response. Myself, I've actually noticed, like back when I was wearing the CGM thing, I was able to collect a lot of data. I would actually notice my blood sugar would drop after coffee, personally.
See, so everyone's body just processes stuff differently.
Yeah, exactly.
Caffeine is a little bit of a nutrient partitioner as well.
Yeah. And like
I've noticed that if I drink black coffee and start my cardio, blood sugar goes down a lot quicker than like if I just started, raw dogging it in the morning.
I had to stop drinking it with I had to stop drinking it with my fasted walk because my blood sugar was dropping too low. So now I drink it with my my meal 1 or my meal 2. Well, basically, since I've started doing my meal 2 before the gym, I just spaced all my meals a bit earlier in the day. Now sometimes I'll do it with meal 2 since that's closer to the gym. But meal 1 or meal 2, not that far apart. Anybody else?
Nice.
Got a question? I think we covered that question pretty good, so I'm just going to go to the next one. We're all good on time here.
Yeah.
We got enough time for one more question, then I got to eat.
Okay.
So
I think that's.
I missed you boys, man.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I hadn't been on here.
Bro.
Yeah, I think this is a good amount of questions to do. We'll do one more, and then we'll call it, and then we'll still have some for next week. So let's. All right,
Hell yeah.
we got to pick a good one. We got to pick a really good one. Let's see. Okay, so we could do a cycle one, or we could do another prep one. What do you guys think?
Let's talk about drugs. Everybody likes drugs.
That's what people want to hear about. Like, let's be honest.
All right. So first part of the question is, what's the best cycle that you've had, and like what are the gains you got from it, and then the second part of the question is the worst cycle and why. So I'll go first because mine's pretty simple. Best cycle I ever had was my most recent one. The next cycle is going to also be my best because each cycle should be getting better and better progressively. But the last one that I ran was the best I've ever run because it was very simple compared to what I'd done in the past. It was 2 compounds for the majority of it, test and EQ. Then we added an MPP like halfway in, and growth was pretty high the whole time. Insulin sporadically but intelligently, not just every training day for no fucking reason. Everything was just streamlined. So that's why it was good for me. My worst cycle that I ever ran was probably just some dumb shit that I did when I was, like 21. Just probably like 200 mgs a test and a bunch of fucking orals, just not knowing what I was doing.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I'll go next. So my best cycle was probably the one I ran for a good part of last year. I like to consider this my first rebound I did. And this was the cycle that really kind of changed my physique and made me look like an actual bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So this cycle in particular was the first time I touched what I would consider bodybuilding doses. So right out of a diet where I got peeled, ramped the test up to 700 milligrams, master on up to 700 milligrams. That's the first time I touched any doses like that. Like, that was high for me. And then we ran the cycle for, I want to say, about 6 months, maybe a bit longer. And I think the peak doses escalated up to about 1250 test and 900 mast, I believe. And we ran some Anavar at the end as well. And on top of that, this is the first time that, again, we pushed the growth hormone up to what I'd consider bodybuilding doses. So during that cycle, I pushed from I believe the low was 168 pounds on that diet, and pushed up to low 220s. And like, honestly, my body composition was still like super lean. Like, that's what I started prep at. And lines in my glutes, abs in, obviously, veins up and down my quads, midsection, everywhere. Like, it was just insane progress. So I'd say that was probably my best cycle I ever ran. Worst, I've only ran one that was just really stupid, and not even really stupid, relatively speaking, but compared to the other cycles I ran, they were all pretty well thought out. This one in particular was, I believe it was my 3rd cycle, and it's when I was kind of in that experimental phase. So this is where it's like, okay, I'm going to hit all the pathways here. So, I got tested there, Primo and MPP. I think it was a total of like almost 1,500 milligrams, which was just way too much gear for where I was at. Like, I didn't look like I had ever seen the inside of a gym. Like, I wasn't training properly. Like, I always trained hard and stuff, but just no good intention in the training. Execution and overall form was shit. Diet was pretty good, but not mapped out like it is now. So that was definitely my worst cycle. I think I only made it like probably 6 weeks into that cycle, and I was just, the NPP really shook me up mentally. Like, I just felt really anxious and emotionally wasn't there. So I ended up just pulling the plug on that cycle. I think it was just one of those things, like, my body wasn't ready for so much androgen load. And so now that's why I pretty much preach. It's like, I'm not like someone that tries to gatekeep drugs and gatekeep higher doses, but it's like, if it's like your first couple cycles, high doses are seriously just going to do more harm than good. So
you have to earn your dose.
Yeah, for sure.
I've
Like eventually you are gonna have to take the leap, but you know, like if you don't look anything like a bodybuilder, like you don't need to be running 1,500 milligrams of gear a week. Like you're just gonna have all the side effects and get none of the benefits from it. So
If you're taking a
another
cycle,
thing too.
if you're taking a cycle and you list the dosages and the people are like extremely shocked, probably means you're running too much because you don't look the part. Like
yeah,
if Sergey Denisov or whatever his name is, the guy who took like 100 units of growth a day for a week, if he told me he was running a gram a test, I'd believe him. But if he told me he was running 3, I'd also believe him. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's tons of guys at the gym that are on gear, and it's like they don't look like it. But if they told me they were on 500 milligrams of test, I'd be like, yeah, okay, like I can understand that. Like
Yeah.
for most people, like that's not going to make you look like a bodybuilder unless
No.
like you're really advanced with your training and your diet and everything else, and have a lot of time in the game. But yeah, when you see when you see a guy that looks like he's never lifted a weight before and he tells you he's on over a gram of gear, it's like you
Why?
kind of just scratch your head. But at the same time, like I've been there, so
Yeah.
it's just you know, you just got to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're just experimenting, and now they're going to realize like, okay, more isn't always more.
Yeah.
Like it is in the right context, but not just across the board.
The hard part is when people don't realize that. Other people are continuously telling them that, and they still don't realize that. So, like, there's this one guy. There's this one guy going around on Instagram. He's very small. He's like 185, 195 pounds, like 5'10".
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you'll see
Evan
him.
Quinn or something.
Something like that. He's running like a gram a test,
Yeah.
500 deca, 500 EQ, and he looks like he barely works out. So
And he's like, that's 3.4 something units of growth too.
something.
It's super
actually,
exact.
This
What's
guy might be
sad
running
is-
like 8 units, but it's like I'll see like like Josh Jefferson and guys I talk to like comment under, and like I've commented myself, and it's just like, dude, you just don't need this much right now. It's just not. It's not. These aren't dangerous doses per se. They're not going to necessarily hurt you, but you're just wasting your fucking money.
Yeah.
It will hurt you in the long run,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
It's
The
more
neurotoxicity
so
of running that deca.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And my
Even aside from
opinion,
that, like if you're
Go ahead.
running too high if you're running too high of doses and your body's not using it, that's where you're going to run into the side effects. You know, like
Yeah.
that's why the longer you're in this game, like the less side effects you get because your body just actually uses the gear. So if you're getting all the side effects and none of the results, like that's probably a good indicator that
and what's worse is
a little too high.
when these same people try to then program their girlfriend or wife's cycle. That's the worst
Oh
part.
god.
Because this
oh my
guy,
God.
this guy that I'm talking about, he's running like 2 grams when he looks like he barely trains, and then he's got his girlfriend or wife on like, I think it's like 60 milligrams of deca a day or something. Like it's a substantial amount for a woman, and it's just like, dude,
Jeez.
what the fuck are we doing? So it's like
man.
people just have. It seems there's this habit of people that are in the beginning stages of this, and they have done all this research, so they think that they're at this tier of level of what they know, when really they're in that period of they don't know what they don't know, right? But they refuse to take outside voices in, and that's a tough spot to be in.
I think a big problem with it is too that, and I laugh every time I read this because every time you talk to someone that's like new, they're like, oh yeah, training's dialed in, nutrition's dialed in. And it's like, if I see someone
can't
say
be.
that, it is not dialed in. Because
can't
no one
be,
that
no.
is actually, anyone that's actually dialed in would never say something
No.
stupid like that.
No, if
So,
you ask me right now how my training is, I'm going to say it's better than it's ever been. I'm not going to say it's perfect, because
I'm the same way. Like, I always say training's the best it's ever been, but I could still level up.
Exactly.
There's always room to
Always
level up.
something to get better at. Yep.
So that's the big problem with people that are new to PEDs is they don't understand there's levels to this shit. They're probably training hard in the gym. Like, I'm not discounting that. They probably are going hard as fuck, but that doesn't mean they're training properly. So when they say it's all dialed in, it's not. There's levels to this shit. So, and they think the PEDs are just the piece of the puzzle that's missing, where really it's a little bit of all of it.
By far the least important.
Those
piece of the
people
puzzle.
they have to learn the hard way, man, because we're all a little guilty of it when we first get into bodybuilding. Like we're like, oh man, I'm on now. What's going to happen? Like you go to the gym, like you're expecting something after that first shot. And it's like you're very, you're let down pretty quickly when you realize, hey, it's a lot more than just, you're training and taking some stuff. It's a matter of, being as perfect as you can for as long as you can, just day after day. And man, the gear, like if something's working, I feel like why continue to scale it up if you don't even need to? I've been guilty of that myself. I just like hear what other people are doing, and I'm like, well, they're doing that, and I'm not. So I need to try that now. And then I learned the hard way. Hey, maybe that wasn't for me. I just need to run my race and do what's working for me, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's the fear of missing out. I mean, I'm guilty of it as well. Like, could I run more PEDs and get the same results? Maybe. Could I run more and get better results? I don't know. Maybe. So you just never know, right? I think that's the thing. It's like, okay, I'm progressing well, but could I be progressing even more?
Yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people, including myself, like I get hung up on that from time to time.
There are a few like cornerstone pieces of information when it comes to PED use. Like for me, I would say like there are certain thresholds too. Like I truly do believe a gram of test, there's something fucking to it. I truly do believe something like there's something to 6+, 8+ units of growth hormone a day. But really past that, it doesn't really fucking matter. It's like really just as much milligrams as you can tolerate that you don't get side effects from, that don't hurt your health, and that you can really tolerate. That's what it comes down to. When we're starting out, we think there's these things that synergize together perfectly. Like, oh man, if I have test, I'm hitting this pathway. And if I have mast, I'm hitting the DHT pathway. Then I also got to hit the nandrolone pathway, because all these things combine together, and it's the secret cycle. When in reality, if you just did a gram of test, it probably would do the same fucking thing. Or we could argue maybe test plus one other thing would do the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate duration.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest thing here is the guys that have been on maybe slightly less androgens, but for a fucking decade. Just let shit fucking do its thing for a long time.
Not straight, by the way, for people that will misinterpret that. They do cruise. They don't do that for 10 years straight.
Yeah, but you can cruise longer. You can cruise longer the longer you're on.
Yeah,
there's something to be said for that though. Like, these guys that just compete show after show after show, like they're not even necessarily getting to spend any time in a surplus yet. They're having these little mini rebounds in 4 to 6 week windows in between shows. They're putting on size. It's truly just more time under curve, essentially. More time training, more time with the androgens in their system. And, granted, you're not going to make as much progress as you would in an off season, but, that's just kind of an example of like just more time does genuinely grow more tissue, whether you're, pushing calories or not. Obviously we want to be pushing calories so we can maximize that when we can, but, there are times where you see, firsthand like that, where people are growing, not even necessarily trying to.
Yeah.
Training in the gear alone, will drive some growth, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, the question was our best and worst cycles. So if everybody else,
Madisyn.
if you guys want to finish off with that.
Let's see. So my worst was probably it was this most recent off season. We were kind of escalating up to see where we needed to stop. And everything was great till it wasn't, when I scaled the test up and it got to like 1740 or something. And it was like that with like 800 EQ.
You see a day.
Man, the sides, like training was just getting insanely progressive, like really fast. And then it was like, once I hit that upper ceiling of like just feeling like shit, I guess you could call it like the test flu, they say it is. But the only way I can explain it is just super lethargic, just no energy. I just felt super heavy. But from that point I scaled it back, and then this has slowly turned into probably my best. Now I've landed at 860 tests. The EQ is at 75 milligrams a day, so whatever that would be. And then it is 210 MPP and 140 tren a week. So
you're doing
219 north.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I know that's not necessarily people's, cup of tea all the time, but it seems to be. I seem to be tolerating it pretty well, and it's like I went into it thinking like, okay, I can get, a little bit of the, training support and just my joints are kind of beat up, get a little bit of that support from the MPP, get a little bit more aromatization as well from that. That's going to help alongside the test. And then with the trend, I just really wanted like that performance in the gym kind of thing while calories are coming down. Just that little bit of an edge that you feel, just not even aggression, but I would just say like ability to like grab that extra gear in the gym, push it to the next level. So just that 20 mgs a day of that added in has like counteracted the, MPP kind of makes you feel like doomy, gloomy a little bit sometimes. I had that at like 350. And so when I pulled that down and put the trend in there, everything seems to be like in a really good spot now as far as just feeling good. Training's really good. The look is coming together a lot better now. So
no sleep problems at all?
No, the sleep's been good too.
Okay. If it ain't broke,
yeah,
fix it, I suppose.
Heart rate like has been, that was one thing. My resting heart rate when I got heavy kind of got up there.
Yeah, I bet.
It was, creeping up towards 80. So I was like, all right, we got to get this thing down. So that's been one of my main focuses too. Like when I do implement something as far as protocol, I really want to make sure that my resting heart rate is still kind of trending downward as I'm getting lighter, even, adding in compounds and stuff like that. Cause, I just feel like from a recovery standpoint, man, when I can keep that like somewhere in the 60s, dude, I'm like so much stronger in the gym, so much just fresher, I guess you could say.
When you say 60, are you talking about your heart rate like before bed, or like do you mean like just standard like sitting around?
No, like resting heart rate. So like whatever, like your watch, what it reads.
Just
so like, if I'm sitting there, it'd probably be like set like right now. So it's saying 100 right now because I'm talking and stuff. If I was just like sitting down, it's like 78. But then if I'm like sleeping, my like sleeping resting heart rate's like 62.
Okay, yeah.
Somewhere in there. So that's the one I'm really after is that sleeping heart rate. I want to get that one down because that means I'm really getting that like recovery sleep,
I got you. Because a lot of people will obsess over their resting heart rate like just throughout the day. And it's like, you're not going to have 50, 60 throughout the day. That's kind of crazy. But if you were, I was going to be like, damn, brother, you're going to be healthy forever.
No, yeah, that'd be great, but I really just want that sleep one because I feel like when you do get that one down pretty low, you're getting your heart's getting a nice break through the night while you're resting.
It's also a sign that you're not really battling heavy apnea because if you're battling heavy apnea at night, your heart rate's going to be fucking high. I've seen that.
You know what helped a lot and has really got it to come down was I told you like I think it was the last one we did. I kind of been sitting almost straight up now with a body pillow.
Yeah, I got a wedge.
Doing that, man, has alleviated I guess like that anxiety that you get with the mask on and stuff when you lay flat down. Like even though I can breathe, when you lay flat on your back, it's just something uncomfortable about it. So I think that sitting up has really helped that a lot too. So that's been a big change. But yeah. Things seem to be going smooth so far.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and then I forgot GH is in there. It's a weird number because it's 24 IU GH, so it's 4.8 IUs before training.
Okay.
So it's almost five units, but do that pre-training.
We'll say it's overdosed. We'll say 5.
Yeah, we'll just call it 5. I'm sure it is probably a little bit over.
Yeah.
That sounds like a pansy cycle, but man, I'm telling you,
it does not.
I've tried like the higher, like I've told you, like I really scaled the test up and stuff, and I was really an avid like believer in it because I was getting a decent response until I wasn't, and I think that had a little bit to do with body composition just being too soft at that point. So I think, for the time I just needed a little bit less tests, more androgens kind of thing. And it seemed to have hardened me up a little bit. Obviously we're dieting now too, and a little bit more cardio and stuff, but
Trent will do that.
yeah, dude, I swear to you, I put it in. This is third day in. And it's like each day I'm like, this is crazy. It's like, how is this even happening? It's weird. The visual changes that you see so quickly.
Turn Max.
Yeah. First off, I love it.
Before you go, sorry. Before
go ahead.
I got to go now. My meal timer's been going off for a little while now. So, anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, good talking with you. Peace.
Hey, Brad.
Love you, brother.
All right.
The four amigs.
Anyway, I was just going to say that I'm not opposed to combining Deca and Tren. I used to think that was like blasphemy, but I fucking love it. I think it's nice.
I think I
Dude,
don't know. I don't know if it was Dallas that used to do that shit, but there was one of the guys in that kind of era that Dallas was in, that kind of 2010s era that would talk about it. I feel like it was Dallas, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah, I was like really skeptical on it at first, but I started thinking about it. I was like, man, the the binding affinity of the trend I feel like is so much stronger. This is getting like super nerdy here, but I feel like I was getting a little bit of that, just like I said, just like that doomy gloomy feeling from the MPP, because I was leaning on that for more anabolic, and I always had a great just positive feeling on trend, like ready to get whatever the fuck I got to do for the day done, and I'm like happy about it. I'm chipper about everything. So I'm like, man, if I can still leverage a little bit of MPP, but then have that mind, like that almost mental shift that the trend gives you, you just kind of, you're on in your training, you're on and you're coaching, you're just on top of everything. I was like, I feel like that'll benefit me right now while I'm trying to really get lean. And dude, it's been interesting, man. So it's been frowned upon the past few years, but I'm gonna see how it goes. I
So
wouldn't do it for a long time by any means, but
well, here's the thing though.
yeah.
Small side tangent. How unhealthy do we really think Trin is compared to our other injectables? Like, what is there
My
about
labs
it?
have never been skewed on trend. I've
I
every
think
time
orals
in
are
prep,
worse than Tren, in my opinion.
100% agree.
yeah,
But like, say,
that
is
causes me
there?
issues so quickly versus trend. Like as soon
Yeah,
as the orals go in, I know that the clock has started ticking
yeah.
for when digestion's going to be fucked, basically.
It, so, is there
Yep.
any neuro? I know there's some neurotoxicity with Deca. Is there the same with Tren? I would assume a little bit.
Yeah,
More
Yeah.
so.
it's actually very high. It's very high.
Crosses the blood-brain
Is it
barrier.
higher than Deca? I would assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but let's say like we're not running 500 milligrams of Tren. Like there's cases for running 700 or more of Deca or Nandrolone. You're not running that much fucking Tren. Like not realistically. How like anywhere from 5 to 20 milligrams a day of Tren. How harmful is that really going to be to brain health? I mean, we don't know, but I would assume it's not going to be much worse than anything else we're doing.
Well, that whole medical dose duration and
Yeah.
drug choice.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've just been running into, man, like I'm trying to lean on these, off-season compounds. And I feel like I'm just like, I don't know, I am getting side effects just from a mental standpoint and stuff like that. I've never really ran into that before, to the point where I'm like, I got to figure something out. Just trying to lean on MPP and stuff like that. And then, kind of restructuring it this way, it seems to be okay now, where I was honestly, I was getting kind of frustrated because I'm like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing here as far as, if I need to just crank my tests a little higher and just rely on that solely.
It's because of mast.
But
It's because of the mast availability. It's like yeah, we can get mast, but it's fucking expensive. I wouldn't recommend anybody to do it in their off season right now unless they're rolling in money or unless they just really really tolerate mast well and can't really do anything else. Or if they're just willing to pay for it, but I'm not gonna pay those prices. It's exorbitant. Like you can get it, but I think that has thrown a wrench to a lot of people's off-season cycle design because we had gotten we got really reliant on using that to mitigate a lot of side effects because it was a SERM, not an anti-estrogen per se, but it was a SERM which would handle a lot of those bad effects we would get.
yeah, and what's crazy is like EQ, yes, it will control estrogen, but
Too
it
much.
nukes estrogen, man.
Yeah.
I've had to pull mine down because it's like dude, I'm fried from an estrogen standpoint. Like I'm flat, and now that I pulled it down, I'm filling out a lot more. And but man, it was cooking my E2. Like I would have probably, I don't know how high I would have had to have the test,
I
but
was gonna
then
say,
like I ran into the issue where it was like, all right, it's so much tests to get that estrogen that it's like counterproductive now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And me personally,
So
I aromatize on the heavier side of things. At least I think I do. It's been a while since I've like just been on nothing but test and checked my E2. But I feel fine personally on 1,000 tests, 600 EQ. I'm maybe a little bit lower on the side of estrogen, but nothing crazy. But anyways, we side tangent aside, Max. What was your best and your worst cycle?
So best cycle was probably 2 or 3 years ago when I just was in a really dark place and all the stars aligned. Granted, I still love this cycle to this day, but a lot of it was situational. I had been cruising for a long time. I kind of hated my life at work, and I ran 1,000 test, 1,000 EQ, 350 Tren Ace.
That's solid.
That is no playing around.
Yeah,
Not at all.
Zero fucking E2 though. Maybe.
No idea. Wasn't doing my blood work at the time, so.
Okay. That's a really good combo though of test EQ Tren.
I love it.
It's pretty good.
Dude,
those are my three favorites.
Yeah.
I bet you were an animal in the gym.
Oh, it was disgusting. And I wasn't even very big at the time, man. But like, I made so much progress in like 8 weeks. I just remember like looking absolutely ridiculous. And I was younger too, so I felt like I responded better.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Worst cycle was probably just everything I did before gear, so the SARM days.
Yeah. Those basic.
Yeah, like I remember.
Honestly, I could have said the same for my worst. To be honest, I totally forgot about that era of life.
You tried SARMs?
Oh, dude.
Yeah, dude. That literally right before I actually figured out how to get on the forums and stuff. I ran into like Ryan Russo and freaking the Tony Huge get huge experiments and stuff.
Dylan Gemelli, do you remember him?
Yes.
No, I don't remember him, but I remember the guy that was who was the scientist guy that was with Tony Huge all the time. He was also a bodybuilder, bald guy.
Fuck.
Oh,
he was
Trevor.
like
Trevor.
Yeah. I remember following a lot of what they were saying, and dude, so I was running like LGD 4033 and like YK11, freaking MK, all stuff.
Yeah.
Rad 140 at the same time. It was like a whole stack of SARM, like 5 different SARMs every pre-workout. Knowing what I know now, I'm like, dude, I'm lucky my liver didn't just fall out, like, and disintegrate.
Out of all of those kind of sketchy compounds, is there anything you guys found to still be of value? I know some people like Carter Ring. Some people, some people like YK11. Some people still use that shit. Like I see that shit available on like actual gear sources, injectable.
LGD is very comparable to Anadrol. To be like 100%.
Yeah,
or D-ball. Yeah, I would say more close to D-ball actually, because you do get like quite a bit of water. But yeah, dude, it's funny because like you're like, how is this? Yeah, you take like I think it was 5 or 10 milligram tablets. Yeah. And I mean, I was in there lifting, granted, this was towards the beginning of my whole bodybuilding journey, but like just say, for instance, the T-bar row, I might have normally had 2 plates on there. Pop one of those, I'm loading up 5 plates on it. All of a sudden I can row it now. It's like
these things
insane
are so strong.
I have probably wasted more money. I've probably, in the 1 to 2 year span that I used SARMs, it's probably closer to 1 year, maybe even 8 months. I probably spent more fucking money on that shit, damn near, not counting growth hormone, than what I have on gear now. This shit was crazy expensive.
Yeah, you're dropping like $100 for like a month supply of freaking whatever, little pill you're trying to, or whatever SARM you're running for the month.
Yeah.
I still get emails from them to this day.
Yeah. Y'all remember it was a blue company. Not Straight Labs, just they're different. It was a blue company.
Lawless?
Yeah. It was a blue company. They were like the Ryan pumped them heavy, and Ryan actually bought part of the company at a time. What the fuck was that? I can still remember the bottles. They had like a picture of a gorilla for the LGD, a picture of a tiger for the Rad.
You remember? He's still on YouTube. You know Mark Plummer? He's like a powerlifter / bodybuilder. He
lives like an hour from me, man.
Oh, nice.
Dude, I bought some of his stuff actually. I was following him a little bit at the beginning of my journey, and he had some stuff on there. I was like, you know what? He seems pretty legit. I trust him for some reason.
He's a good guy.
Actually, and like I said, it was definitely legit stuff. Granted, it wasn't what we need for what we're doing, but it was fun for the time in life.
Yeah, fuck.
Good times, man.
Terrible times, but we can look back on them.
We learned, but I will say, like,
it probably motivated your ass to learn so much on how to do it the right way that, like, that's why we're still on top of all this stuff now.
That's how I got shut down in the first place, man. I shot my estrogen down and I hopped on gear. My hair went blonde.
What?
Yeah,
that can happen.
Yeah, bro. I guess.
Dang,
What the fuck?
that's
I mean,
crazy.
Like, I don't know, but maybe, yeah.
My theory,
Bro, you
so
went
my theory
fucking
is
Super
that
Saiyan.
it wasn't that blonde. It wasn't white, but
Okay.
like my dad is blonde and my mom's brunette. So like you can't really see here, but like I got little like dirty blondness to
Yeah.
my hair, a little bit of red in the beard.
Like in here for me.
Yeah, and I remember my estrogen was so crashed. I had such little energy, and we were Emma and I went to the beach with her family, and there were some photos from back then, and she's like, "Dude, like your hair is so blonde." And like right after that, that would have been July of 2020, and right after that, I kind of was. It was either do a full PCT and get on in the fall, or just go right from there to test. And like I didn't want to have to go through that, knowing I was going to do it eventually.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
kind of. And then I remember spending a fraction of what I spent on the SARMs on like the first cycle of tests.
Exactly.
Yep. Dude, I tried to do I remember the reason I started my first, finally got on test was I started a PCT trying to do it the right way when I finally was coming off everything. And I was just feeling like absolute dog shit, man. It was like, I was like, I know I'm shut down for sure. So that's that, I got on the boards, figured out what I needed to do, started getting got my labs pulled. The test was at a 72 after all that, after all those shenanigans. I was like, yeah, that would be the case there. But yeah, then what was that, 2023?
Oh wow.
I think it was. No, 2022. That was the summer or spring going into 22. So then I hopped on right then.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Damn,
Isn't that
dude, you don't
terrible?
even look like the same guy.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, no shit.
Bro.
I'll show you the body.
Oh my god.
Bro,
Incredible.
you ate that guy.
Still had the fucking calves though.
Yeah, you saw that. Eh? They're the same size as my quads, just like now.
That's hilarious.
All right.
Yeah. Fuck.
Bobby,
All right, Bobby,
your best
you're
or
up.
worst? I feel like you're gonna have a really good answer for this.
Oh, he will.
Okay, so I've never actually done SARMs.
No, just like
I was
your best,
responsible
your
for
best or
from the
worst
beginning.
cycle though. Yeah.
Badge of honor.
So, yeah, badge of honor. The worst cycle was probably 750 tests, 400 deca,
Oh yeah.
and 50 milligrams of Anadrol a day. And the fucking, first of all, I was way too fat to be running a cycle like that.
Huh.
And the water retention that I got from that, I would literally be like peeling my socks
I
off.
remember you talking about this.
So like I would have pitting edemas where like you could poke my ankles. It would be white and it would just like stay there for a second. So like it brought it to my coach's attention. She's like, okay, I want you to do like 2 hours of walking a day and we're just going to reduce carbs by like half until this goes away. It's like, oh my God, all right. But literally I would have like, generally I've always had like leanish calves.
Yeah.
But like I'd watch videos of me doing like a hack squat or something, and you would just see it'd be straight up and down on the calves. It'd just be a fucking water. Yeah, ankles.
Yeah.
So that wasn't too great. My best cycle, I want to say for a prep scenario, it was honestly 400 means a test, 600 mass, 600 EQ. I was honestly super strong on that. Oh yeah, 10 years of growth too. So it wasn't completely pussy cycle here. But
I feel like in the contest prep though, like having lower estrogen like that I don't want to say it feels good, but it can be beneficial. You know, having lower estrogen, you are going to burn a bit more fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets off those stubborn areas a little easier that way.
Yeah.
For me anyway, like my chest and back.
It was really helpful just because like you could see everything go on.
Exactly.
You know, it's like you're not getting fluctuations at all. I mean, I got fucking peeled on that cycle as well. Now in my, like for an off season, my rebound cycle last time was the best. It started at 800 tests, 800 EQ, 50 trend.
Solid. And
when I say EQ fucking tanks and literally just fucking bulldozes estrogen, like my EQ was 7 on the fucking cycle.
I think you need almost double the amount of tests to EQ for most people.
Well,
Yeah,
but here's the
I'd agree.
caveat to that. Because in the past, I've ran, I think it was about 800 or 900 tests at 700 EQ,
Yeah.
and I still needed an AI for that.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I've been in the
So,
same boat. Literally, the off
yep.
season
Oh,
right before this last show I did, basically last summer, same boat. I had to use an AI,
huh.
and then now it's like I can't now.
I think it's a fat level. It's a
Could be.
fat and androgen level. Like,
Could be. Yeah.
um, so what we did is like, okay, estrogen's at that. Thankfully, I didn't feel like joints like were skinny or anything. My coach was even like, thank God your form is really on point. Otherwise, you'd be breaking everything. So we're like, okay, let's pull the EQ for a week. I got test prop.
Yeah.
Let's do half test D, half test prop,
Dude, I
and
love
we're
that
gonna
approach. I love that.
and we're gonna jump the test to 1400, and then
Yeah.
after a week, we're gonna add in 500 EQ.
Yeah.
And I mean, I only gained 20 something pounds during that rebound, but from the beginning to the end of it,
Yeah.
it looks like a completely different fucking
I
person.
mean, 20 pounds
Yeah.
over the course of what, like 10 weeks or so?
12.
I mean,
And you
that's
stay
I think
pretty
it's
tight
like
the whole
24
time.
pounds.
that's almost 2 pounds a week. That's not a bad rate of gain whatsoever.
That's actually great, man. In my opinion, that's great.
Because I was
Well, I still had,
or sorry, not to make it about me, but the first 12 weeks after my contest prep rebound, I went from 197 to 212. So I didn't have a super crazy jump either.
well, so let's see, I ended that rebound with still, lines of my hamstrings, still lines of my glutes. I mean, you guys know how lean I stayed.
Yeah.
So it was never, it just looked like a completely different fucking bodybuilder. And then it looked like, oh shit, I'd only have to diet for like 6 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'd say that's like the best off-season cycle. But I do think that in a prep setting, that higher DHT or higher AI slash CERM
Yeah.
to test ratio is a little bit better,
It can be for a lot
depending
of
on how you
people.
handle it.
Yeah, it definitely can be for like that. There's no one size fits all approach. Like for me,
No.
for me, I would probably feel like shit on that personally, but it works for other people.
Well, and I mean, like you said, it's just like it's not a one size fits all. It's just it's also what part of the process are you in,
Yep.
and I think that's everything. It's kind of like if someone comes to say like, what should I run for a cycle? Like not necessarily a first cycle,
Yeah.
but whatever cycle. It's like I don't fucking know, man.
What do you get on
Why don't you
with?
try it out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
What do you like?
like we were just talking, like you had said in previous times, you used that same cycle and you needed an AI to control estrogen. I've been in a similar situation, so I feel like it's it's kind of where you're at and then how your body's responding at that point in time too. Because it's ever changing, as we know. Like our diet might not be the same one prep to the next, and then now I'm learning kind of the hard way that drugs are the same way as well. You might need a little less sometimes, you might need a little bit more. So yeah, man, that's huge right there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Madisyn, something I think, and this is what Jordan Peters actually brought up before as well. He would say in his, and this is like old school JP. This isn't like new school woke JP. This is, you know what I'm talking about. He said he would actually, he couldn't push his test up very high in an off-season setting
Oh yeah.
because you're a massive human. And so he'd say, like, when he was at his peak body weights, he couldn't push that test very high because of side effects. So he'd actually have to lower it. And then once he got super lean, that's when they had pushed like 3 gram test cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can totally see why. And I think, it's just like, I think the uncomfortability comes from the amount of fluid like that you can actually hold, especially the bigger you get. That water shift can be so crazy. So, if you're cranking 1,500 mgs or 2 grams a test, that's a lot of water that can come with that. And if you're already at your peak weight, yeah, I could totally see that. And I think that's what I ran into once I hit that peak weight and had the test so high. It was like, side effect city as far as just high blood pressure, water retention, all that. So we had to pull it back, and now I'm getting leaner. And then, like you said, now it does feel like I can take it up a little bit. I'm not getting water retentive or anything like that. So that's interesting. I need to check some of his old stuff out, man.
There's a reason.
For sure. I haven't read much of his approaches.
The Train by JP website is where I got it from, like the old videos.
I have a
I heard he's got like legendary like forum stuff and stuff like that. Like just all his stuff is really like a wealth of knowledge.
That's where you see like Kuba's actual old cycles that got him to his size. Yeah. That's where you like see the 3 gram cycles.
That's the thing. That's the thing. Like a lot of these guys will preach safer use when they're bigger. But starting out, they didn't do that shit. Starting out, they did a grandma test and 500 deca or whatever, right? But then
at least
they get to a certain size. I'm talking about, their first few cycles. They get to a certain size where it just becomes side effect city because of the amount of food they're having to eat, the amount of body weight they carry, and the amount of water they carry. So that is when they kind of have to shift to only using a certain amount of this and that, and then really leveraging the drier compounds just because they don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd agree with that for sure. I need to get my, like you were saying, how the mass shortage and things like that have thrown a wrench into a lot, man. And I think we all got so spoiled being able to lean on, just the mildness of that compound to get our milligram totals up. Where now we're having to, really be strategic with, hey, this is here. This, we can take this up to about this dosage, where any other time it's like, how do I fill this in? More masked, and you're good to go most of the time. You don't have to worry necessarily about sides or anything like that.
So I also want to argue how, because I don't fall in this camp of believing that you just need more total milligrams to grow. It's just like, how is your body using the milligrams to grow? Like, I don't believe it's like this magical number. Anson, I see you shaking your head. Hold on a second, though.
I'm processing what you're saying.
Okay. So, you know how they say, like, open bodybuilding starts at 2 grams, 2.5.
Yeah.
But what if you don't actually necessarily need that? Like, what if you're doing fine on side effects? Training is going up, body composition is great. What if it's not really this arbitrary number that we used to fucking believe? Because they would use the Masteron and Primo to push these fucking milligram totals up. But why though? Yeah. Like, what's the actual point with using these mild compounds to push an arbitrary number up?
Yes.
Yeah, really, we could leverage a little bit less MPP, a little bit less EQ, a little bit less test.
I think there are threshold doses that you can, and of course the threshold kind of varies a little bit person to person, right? But there are threshold doses that you can get to where most people are not going to have side effects, but high positive effects, right? So I'd say that range for something like a test is generally going to be anywhere from 750 to 1250. It's a big spectrum, right? Like if you hear an open pro talking about test dosages, it's either 750, a gram, 1250. You're not going to hear a lot of 1500s. You're not going to hear a lot of 500s either. So I fall kind of in the middle of that. I like about a gram because it's not, to me, 1250 is a little too much, a little bit too watery on that. But then I don't really get the same oomph at 750 a test. On a gram a test, I like, this is going to sound really bad, but I just like barely feel on in the gym. Like I want something to really drive me, which for me is going to be at least a gram a test and then like, 500 or something else. So it's not necessarily that we should just be trying to fill a threshold dosage with random things or like, it's 2 grams, like you said. Progress each compound. So like when I'm designing cycles for my newer guys, I don't want to throw them on a gram of test, right? Like that's dumb. But let's say their total risk tolerance and their total past exposure to a dose is a gram. What I'm going to do is I'm probably going to throw them on like 500 to 600 tests. I'm going to put them on, 300 or 400 or something else, right? Because we can get benefit, like the Primo, like you were mentioning. What's kind of a threshold for Primo? There really isn't one. And I think that's where people...
3 grams?
Yeah.
3 fucking grams?
That's where people get lost in the sauce like you're talking about is when we have a compound where there really is no threshold dose, it's really more so what is your wallet? Like, what's in your wallet? Fucking Capital One on that Primo.
what's your wallet and what can your body take before you're fucking just pit city?
That too, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Jesus Christ. Bro, when I was doing Primo, I was like, I don't understand how these guys,
I don't
you
get
know,
it.
like Kuba or JP will say, you know, they're doing like a gram of Primo.
Fucking wild.
Bro, how are you, where the fuck are you putting 10 mils
Yeah.
of fucking shit to just not like welt you up?
Bro, I can't
Hey,
do
I
it.
don't give
I
a
like the
fuck
high
how good and
concentration
clean your
shit
Primo
too.
is.
Yeah. So it's like to
Yeah.
that whole rant there is to say, like, when it comes to things like test, EQ, DECA, they're going to have side effects at certain dosages. So we have these kind of thresholds to almost guide us, right? Like to those ratios that we can use them. Mast and EQ don't really have side effects for the most part. So it becomes tricky. So it can be kind of tempting to just say, just fucking throw 2 grams of mass in there, throw a gram of mass in there. Same thing, you know, with Primo if you have the wallet for it. So I think that's where people get lost into it. Is just the fact that there's not these. It's kind of like it's like God put the side effects in EQ for a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and okay, so I definitely do agree with you on the like the threshold per compound.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense. It's just I can't wrap my head around. It's like, do you really think you're getting that much more benefit off of running a gram of Primo versus 400 MPP? I don't think so.
No, I don't believe that bullshit
No.
where they're like
And
each dose
and
does
it's
the
like,
same thing. No, they're different.
well, it's
Yeah.
like I also don't believe that if you're running a gram of test, 400 MPP, that you're going to get all that much more growth out of running 600 mass on top of that, or 600 Primo as well.
Yeah,
I don't think you're going to get alcohol.
yeah,
You might look better. You might have this artificial look that's a little bit better.
yeah.
But
That's
the
been
same
my-
thing you said if you just add in Proviron, which is
Yeah.
also a DHT
Yeah,
and a lot cheaper and much more available. And that's actually what I'm leveraging right now
yeah.
because I don't want to
love
burn
Proviron.
mass.
You know, there was
Yeah.
a thought process back in the day that Masteron and Primo literally were not anabolic at all. Now that's obviously not true, but there's something to be said about that old wisdom. Like, is there really a point in running 2 grams of fucking Primo or Mass? I don't think so. Honestly, you're probably just killing your prostate.
That's where I thought, like,
killing your wallet too, and your wife
Yeah,
is screaming at you
that
too.
too,
What the
yeah.
fuck are you doing spending our rent check
Yeah.
on fucking free?
Yeah, I just don't get it, man. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that something like an MPP, you can get away with less because it is by and large stronger. The idea that 100
Yeah.
test and 100 MPP and 100 Primo are all the same level, fucking absurd. Like, you run 100
Yeah.
test, you're not going to feel like you're doing anything. You run 100 Primo, you're not going to feel like you're doing anything. You run 100 MPP, you will feel it. You run 100 trend, you damn sure will feel it.
I was going to say, yeah, you throw, like, sometimes when you see a cycle just getting crazy like that, like somebody, let's just say, for instance, they're using the 2 grams of mass and a gram of test or whatever. I sometimes wonder, I'm like, is that, like, could you just take out the 2 grams of mass and throw in like 100 tren and you would probably get that much more anabolism and only took, 100 more extra milligrams? You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as from
Yeah.
a muscle building standpoint, where like Masteron, it seems to me like it's more of a cosmetic effect and just kind of like the cherry on top of whatever you already got going on to like really build tissue.
With the number being that different, maybe not, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no, yeah, like 2 grams, it's probably gonna do a little more than the 100, but like something a little more reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, let's say like 700-800 mass versus like 100 tren or something like that.
Oh yeah, I'd take that all day.
So I think this is another thought process that maybe comes into play as well, is maybe like the safer use model of what they're preaching is they're not actually using the anabolics as their driver for growth, it's their driver for recovery. And so they're letting like training and food really be the drivers so that they can pay attention to everything growing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like they're using now they're using a hefty dose of test if you pay attention to John and Kuba.
Yeah.
Now they're using one. But it's like if they're using something else, and those guys are very huge drivers or they're very huge proponents, and let's let the training be the driving factor
Yeah.
for growth, which I believe in that as well. So if you could keep almost like a tighter look and just watch everything grow,
Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe that's something
I can see that.
maybe that's what they're leveraging.
Yeah,
But
I like that.
let's also
That makes sense.
let's
Yeah.
also be real too. Behind the scenes, we also know they're not all just doing safer
Yeah.
use as well.
yeah.
So they're doing the NPPs, they're doing the decos. They just don't want to talk about that or tell their clients to do it, because who the fuck wants to deal with 50 clients that have a shit ton of side effects?
Yeah,
Because
it's hard.
let's be honest, clients
I didn't
aren't
really
always
think about it
confident
from
enough to
that
be running.
standpoint,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's really easy to throw somebody on a gram of mass and not think much about it in terms of how having to manipulate their ancillaries.
Well, it's like fuck, your blood
Never
work's
thought about that.
going to be
'Cause
flawless.
Yeah,
I've never had so many clients to worry about shit like that, but that's
Yeah.
actually pretty fucking smart.
yeah,
yeah,
Well, it's like, let's say you got 50 to 100 clients. It's like, man, we'll just put them on 300 tests, 800 mass. Blood markers aren't going to be skewed from that. And if they are, it's like, that's just a diet change.
yeah,
yeah.
That's not an anabolic change.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of these coaches that coach like tons and tons of people, I feel like a lot of them do kind of have that approach. Like a lot of the cycles are very base,
Cookie cutter.
and just something that you could pretty much throw at anybody at any given time. And they're not going to, their estrogen is not going to be through the roof. They're going to be able to see a visual change and things like that. I didn't ever really think about that till you said that, but
It's
that kind of makes total sense from like an athlete management standpoint.
The thing,
Like, dude,
though-
that makes total sense.
The thing I don't understand though is a lot of these people that are using the safer use model, like you're saying, Bobby, they're very focused on the training. And I mean, mast, yeah, you'll get a really, really good response from training off of mast, but primo not so much. And you'll get a damn better response off of like an MVP or even an EQ. Like EQ, man, you feel like you can run through a fucking wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you also have to deal with 50 to 100 clients coming to you with anxiety problems, high red blood cell count, high whatever fucking things that you might not have to want to
Fucking
deal
put a
with.
bullet in my head.
Oh my god, I have to
No,
manage
Max,
my client's side effects.
Hey, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about.
know.
It comes from that, like, let's make life easier on myself.
Nah, fuck that.
I thought I was dealing with that when I was doing that 1,000 tests, 1,000 EQ, 1,000 trend, but like no shit, and also smoking a ton of dope at the time. No wonder. and my life was a disaster, and I'm living at my parents' house. Like, what do you expect, bro?
Yeah.
So,
Max is like, what is going wrong here, dude?
What could it be?
I should be feeling fine.
Eating fucking
Whatever.
fast food and taking 19 Nors as a 24-year-old.
Whatever could be the issue.
I feel like your brain is definitely not ready for it at that point.
Fuck no.
A heavy cycle.
Not even ready now, but
dude.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I think from that perspective, though, it's like, I think it'd be kind of like best to ask a client, like, what are your goals?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be an open pro bodybuilder, or hey, do you want to look fucking good on the beach and
The TRT
feel good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to be like TRT and then we'll fucking throw in some high mass or high primo every now and then,
True.
and we'll just have you fucking looking good and feeling good? Or do you really want to put on some size? But if you want to put on some size, understand this:
You have to be uncomfortable.
you're gonna have health risk.
Yeah.
You're gonna be uncomfortable. You're gonna have health risk, and you're gonna have to be on top of your fucking shit. And if you're not on top of your shit, I'm gonna fucking drop you because I'm not gonna be responsible for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
That's how you gotta be too, man. Especially when it's you're dealing with that kind of shit. It's you're dealing with health and guiding somebody through that process. If they're not fully bought in on it, that's murky waters for sure. I'd probably do the same. Be like, all right, man, we're gonna have to part ways here.
All of these questions that we've answered today can be summarized to one phrase: listen to your coach. And then the follow up would be: if you don't trust your coach enough to listen to them, find one you do.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have respect for your coach and shit like that. It's got to be that type of relationship where like you can't be buddies with them or anything like that. You can, but you guys have to have like an understanding, where that's your coach. You respect them to that level, and you're gonna take their word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, if you enjoy movies, Drop your favorite movie in the comments.
There it is. All right. Well, we're running over 2 hours here. I got my last meal of the day waiting for me, so I think this is a good spot to wrap
I
it
got
in.
a hot bath waiting for me.
Yeah. I gotta take a ginormous piss as well. That's been the past 15 minutes for me. All right. Well, if you made it to the end, like Bobby said, drop what your favorite movie or TV show is down in the comments, or both. If you want to do that, that's cool too. But check out all the links in the description. Again, all of us are, and also Brad, who was on earlier, are all online coaches. So message us on our social medias, which are Instagrams below our faces, if you are interested in working with any of us. And thank you for watching. It's been another episode of the Iron Obsession.
And then also, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell.
Hype button. We don't have that yet. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Get us there.